Hello, everyone. I'm Nicole Chamberlain, and I'll be leading you through a 45-minute vinyasa today to open the mind and observe your thoughts.
Good morning, I'm Stephanie Bryady, and I'm so excited to take Nicole's class. I'm a teacher at Power Yoga of Cape Cod.
Excellent. So Stephanie, I'm going to have everyone start today's practice in a seat on the mat for meditation. And so let's work our way into an upright seat on the mat. And begin to move around in whatever way you can. And feel yourself eventually settle onto the top of your sits bones. Go ahead and roll your shoulders around. Yeah, the usual here. All the places we get a little tight and stuck in, we want to get some flowing movement back into. Maybe, if nothing else, get it out of the place that feels really stuck. And then bringing stillness back into the body, lift the heart a little and close your eyes softly. Return all of the attention that you've been paying outside of yourself today, maybe to friends, bosses, coworkers, your spouse, and turn that beautiful, loving attention inward so that you get a moment to check in here. Observing, what are you noticing? What are you feeling? And with this observer mindset, it's not in a way that is judgmental or that's critical. You might say, oh, I feel my elbow or I feel my hips. They feel a little tight today. That's a great observation. So when you are moving, you can offer some awareness of freeing that up. And we can have a need sometimes to label things right away as bad or wrong. So for today's practice, just observe. Be open-minded to what you feel, what you sense, as a way to be fully present. Let the breath flow in and out. Big, deep inhales and exhales. And using the breath as a way to tap into this flowing energy. This energy that will guide our practice in a natural way. 3 more deep breaths. Feel the widening, the expanding. And inhale, reach your arms up overhead. And pause there as you exhale. And take a moment to feel the ribs lift up out of your hips. Sometimes we bring the arms up, but we leave the rib cage heavy down. So you want this soft tissue between the hips and the top of your ribs at the bottom. See if you can engage a little space through there. And then inhale and take that space to fold over, bringing your fingertips out in front of you onto the ground. And exhaling and letting yourself settle down and in. Feeling the stretch as an easy and even opening. That's still staying grounded into the hips. Take a breath in and a breath out. And then take your fold over to the right. And you can take your right hand and just grab onto your left wrist. And get a big old stretch here through the sideline. Still anchoring into the sits bones. And then how is your breathing? Fill up the space with your breath. And then take it over to the other side. So walking your hands to the left, maybe grabbing onto the wrist. You feel the shoulder blades dropping down. A few more breaths stretching out the side. And bring yourself through center, walking those hands through center and then back up towards the top of the room. Yeah, and then bring your forearms behind you and bring your feet to plant. So you'll come onto your forearms, bring your feet to plant, and just windshield wiper the legs right to left. So gentle opening into the hips, yeah, warming them up. And then straighten your legs up, come into a seat, come up tall for staff pose. And inhale, reach your arms up to the ceiling. Exhale, take your right hand down to the ground and reach your left arm up overhead. Now reach it over now to the side, getting a stretch here into the left. Breathe and hold here as you breathe out. Inhale, reach both arms back up to the ceiling. Exhale, left hand down onto the ground as you reach that right arm up and over. Inhale, come back up tall. Exhale, both hands to the heart. So hands at the heart, and we'll begin here in class with a single Om. Take a breath in. Coming into downward facing dog. And as always, coming into down dog, start to pedal out your feet, your knees. Shift your body around so you're not static, like the body's no longer hard. Give yourself permission to flow, to move, and to observe. And take a moment here, bend into your right knee and straighten out the left. Take a breath in or two. And then switch legs and hold here for a breath or two again. And then bring both legs to straight. Send a little soft bend into the knees and get those sits bones up high to the sky. Now focus your eyes to the back of your mat and just observe how downward dog feels for you right now. Yeah, stepping back from our automatic ways of seeing things and just noticing now how it feels in this moment. And then inhale, roll forward into your plank pose. And have your heels over the ball mounds of the feet. And if you're struggling to do that, the hands and feet may just be a little too far away or too close together. Getting this nice plank pose, stuff looks awesome here. Let's lower down nice and slow, keeping the elbows hugged in towards the ribs. And we'll take Cobra on an inhale. And exhale, lower. And we'll do that again, but remember, sometimes we like to push our arms straight, but that means we're not gonna rotate the shoulders back as much. So let's challenge that elbow bend. Inhale, lift, elbows point straight back, shoulders pull back. And then exhale, lower. Two more times. Inhale for Cobra, breastbone out. Exhale, release and lower. Beautiful. Inhale, Cobra. Exhale and lower. And go through child's pose. And immediately lift right back up into downward facing dog. Take a breath in, down dog. And just go ahead and sigh it out. So the mind sometimes stops at nothing to take us out of the moment and make us go unconscious. And we don't want to judge that. That's the ego coming in the back door. And so as long as we are aware, the ego cannot exist. So awareness and ego cannot live together. Let's reach the right leg up towards the ceiling. And we're going to hold this for 3 breaths, working the inner thighs. We're up high onto the ball mound of that left foot. Nice, as the inner thighs draw in, and that right heel is lifting up to the sky, but the toes are still facing down to the ground. And then your next breath out, you'll draw your knee into your nose as you roll forward into plank. See if you can hug that knee in, get that compression. And then inhale, reach it up and back, 3-legged dog. Exhale the knee to the nose. Again, compressing upper to lower body. And inhale, reach it up and back. Exhale, knee to nose, last time. And breathe it in, reach the leg up and back. Bend the knee and open up your hip. Keep your hands rooting you into the ground, pressing into that pointer finger and thumb as you just yawn this right side open. Inhale, exhale. And straighten the right leg, square the hip, and set the right foot down onto the ground. Roll through into plank pose. Lower all the way down onto the ground. Inhale, cobra, shoulders back, elbows hug the ribs. Exhale, release and lower. Curl the toes under. Hug your low belly in as you press up to plank pose. And downward facing dog. Do a little check-in here of the quality of your breath. Be complete and full on the inhale. Releasing on the exhale. And take your left leg up towards the ceiling, or not through momentum, but through the strength of the back of your legs. Getting up high onto the ball mount of the right foot. Take a few breaths. And noticing the difference between the right and left, if there is any. Noticing similarities. And the next breath out, draw the knee into the nose. Inhale, reach up and back, stretch up. Exhale, knee to nose. Breathe in, reach the leg up and back, growing length through the spine. And exhale, the knee to the nose. Breathe in, up and back. This time, bending the knee, peel open the hip. The right heel is in the air. And we work the inner thighs lifting. The right heel stays up. It's a left heel draws into the glute. Inhale. Exhale. And straighten the leg as you square the hip, lowering the left foot down next to the right. Walk your hands to your feet at the back of your mat and take ragdoll. So there's this grabbing of the opposite elbows, and if you traditionally grab your elbows a certain way, maybe just mix it up. Centering into the heels, pressing down into the ball mounds of the feet. And just humbly offering away anything that does not serve you. Any thoughts that may come up that are not of this moment. And just allow yourself to be here now. Feeling this reversal of the blood flow, letting go of the head, the neck, the jaw. And then release your hands down to the ground. And take a half lift, inhale. Think of your spine weaving up and out. And exhale, release, fold forward. Do that twice more. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Breathe in, lift halfway. Exhale and fold forward. Rooting into your feet. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up overhead to the ceiling. And exhale, forward fold right back down to the ground. Lift halfway, inhale. And walk back into your downward facing dog, exhale. And remembering your breathing is vital to feeling alive in your practice, being alive in your life. Take your right leg up towards the ceiling. Exhale the right knee into your nose. This time, step the foot between the hands and extend your heart. So you'll come up onto your fingertips, get this nice stretch into the hip flexors of that left leg. And take a little bend into that left knee as you inhale into crescent lunge. So that little knee bend is just going to help you to rotate the arms up overhead. And then create your balance here. Find your stability. Bring your arms out to a T. Now lean your torso forward over your right leg. That's it. Beautiful. Take a breath in. Now holding this at a diagonal. Exhale. And then like you're an airplane banking to the right. I want you to bring your left hand down to the ground. Yeah, and then the right arm reaches up to the ceiling into this twist. You're going to keep drawing your outer right hip back as you expand through the right side. Now opening up the muscles around the ribs, the chest, the shoulder, and expand out, breathing life back into your sail. Inhale. And both hands down to the ground, exhale. Step back, plank pose. Lower halfway, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, coming onto the tops of the feet and lifting the heart. Exhale, curl the toes under, using that core strength, downward facing dog. Sitting the weight back into the hips. Inhale. Exhale. Let your focus be so simply on the breath that everything else just falls away. Inhale, reach the left leg up to the sky. Exhale, take the knee into the nose, step the foot between the hands. Take this moment, extend the heart, coming up onto fingertips, lower into the hips. And then bending into that back knee as a propeller to inhale you up into crescent lunge, rising up. Holding here as you exhale, getting the hip in line with that front knee, creating a 90-degree angle. Now pelvis is neutral. And maybe a smile, a lightness to the practice, and ease. And arms to a T. Lean the torso forward. Take a breath in, doing awesome to integrate the core, and exhale. And like an airplane, banking to the left, right hand down to the ground, left arm up to the sky. And get into that rotation. And the body loves it when we twist. We don't get to do this much in our day-to-day life. So taking this opportunity, inhales, lengthen. Exhales, twist us. And both hands down to the mat. Step back, high plank to low plank. Open the heart, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath in and a breath out. Even out your breathing. And take your gaze to the top of your mat. Walk, hop, or step to your hands. Breathe in, lift halfway. Breathe out, fold forward. Inhale, chair pose. Sit that weight back into your hips. Now weight back into the heels. Drawing the navel into the back of your spine, focusing the eyes straight ahead. And creating this deep knee bend. And then inhale, reach right on up into extended mountain pose. You'll straighten the legs, reach your arms to the sky. And exhale the hands to the heart. And breathe in, reach the arms back up overhead. And then bend the knees just a tad. And as you exhale, now straighten the arms, straighten the legs, and side bend to the right. So you'll take your right hand down the leg, actually, and reach that left arm up and over. Beautiful. So hips are off center. And then we'll do that into the other side. So inhale, reach the arms up, bend the knees, and then exhale, take it over to the left so that your hips are not over your feet anymore. Offset the hips and inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, side bend over to the right again. Inhale, reach the arms up. Now bending softly into the knees. Exhale, straighten and take it to the left. Breathe in, center. Exhale over to the right side. Nice. Inhale up tall. Exhale off to the left. And breathe in, reach those arms up overhead. Breathe out, forward fold. Half lift, inhale. Plant the hands, step back into downward facing dog, exhale. Breathe into plank pose. Breathe out, lower all the way onto the mat. Inhale, lift the heart for cobra pose. Exhale, lower it down. Now let's do just the lower body. So inhale, lift the thighs up off of the floor. Yeah, and then exhale, lower down. Now let's lift the upper body cobra, inhale. Release and lower, exhale. And then lower body, just those legs, inhale. And release it down, exhale. And curl the toes, engage into the quadriceps, press yourself up into plank and into downward facing dog. Inhale, reach your right leg up towards the ceiling. Exhale, step the right foot between the hands. Inhale, rise up into crescent lunge. Exhale, the arms to a T. Lean forward over your right thigh. And come into your twist. Left hand down to the ground, right arm up to the ceiling. We're here for 3 breaths. Really work to draw the shoulder blades into the back. Yeah, rotating that right rib cage on top of the left. And then take both hands down to the ground. So you're framing your right foot. And push off of your back leg to come into standing split. Perfect. So holding our standing split for a breath or 2. And then we're going to take a soft bend into the right knee as you take your left knee to your nose. So both knees will be bent, and then inhale, straighten both legs. Reach that left leg up to the ceiling. And exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, reach it up and back. Exhale, knee to nose. Step the foot, the pinky toes actually together. So the left foot is going to go beside the right foot. Yeah, pinky toes together. Perfect. And you can bend deeply into the knees here, or if it works for you to maybe straighten the legs. And then sway the hips Just gently right to left. And then uncross the legs, come into a forward fold. Lift halfway, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, fold forward. Half lift, inhale. Plank pose to chaturanga, exhale. Breathe in upward facing dog. Breathe out, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg stretches to the ceiling. Exhale, the knee to the nose, stepping the foot between the hands. Inhale, rise up into crescent lunge. Exhale, the arms to a T. Lean yourself forward and twist. Right hand down and left arm reaching up. And notice what you notice. Keeping awareness our focus, keeping the breath our focus. And hands down to the ground. Let's push off the back leg, come into standing split. And getting your balance, checking in that you're breathing, right? Being mindful here as we set up intentionally the foundation. And then bending softly into the left knee as you draw your right knee into your nose. And an inhale, stretch it up. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, standing split. Exhale, knee to nose. Bring your right foot beside the left, pinky toes, maybe try to touch each other if you can get them there. And here you're gonna cross your wrist and take your peace fingers around your big toes. There it is. And this is hard to balance, so you may need to bend the knees deeply here. Maybe you can let the head go, relaxing the chin into the chest. But balance comes first, so if you need to uncross the wrists, do so. And then let's unwrap from this pose, unwrap the wrists, unwrap the legs, bring both feet back to touch. Inhale, lift halfway. Plant the hands, step right foot back, following with the left foot into downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward between your hands. And walk your hands down the side of your mat into your wide-legged forward fold. That's facing the side. Take a half lift here, inhale. And fold a little deeper, exhale. Grounding into the feet, and both heels ground down as you draw up through the adductors, those inner thighs. And you can keep a soft bend at the knees. And I want you to take another half lift here. And then this time bring your arms out to a T. So you're really gonna wanna work those hips back, and that may mean bending into the knees a little. And then right hand down to the ground and left arm stretches up to the sky. Just a different entrance into these twists to ensure that we're getting that deeper hip flexion, right? The deeper knee bend. And then come back into that T position and take it over to the other side. Left hand down to the ground, right arm up. Yeah, we're keeping the knees just softly bent, sitting back into the hips, into the groins, just to challenge this outer tissue to let go a little more. And bring the hands down to the ground. And take your hands to your hips. And with a flat back, come all the way up to stand. Taking your warrior two to the front of your mat. And breathing right down the midline of the body, drawing into your center. And come into side angle. Right fingertips either to the floor or forearm down to the ground. And working on not leaning. So it really is that drawing in to the center line, right into the core. And working that left rib cage, stacking on top of the right. And just use your breath to guide you. And we're going to bend into the left knee here and push off of it to come into half moon pose. So if you need a block under your fingertips or maybe fingertips down to the ground, it can be helpful here just to take your left hand to your hip to begin and get the alignment of the pose and then grow into it. And breath by breath, we slowly build the pose. And that bending of the knee to get you here is an accelerant. And then once you're in the pose, just breathe 3 more breaths. And then bring your left foot next to your right foot, meeting in a forward fold. And bring your feet as wide as your mat's edges and keep your feet parallel. So bend your knees and bring your forearms inside your lower legs. Your hands are outside your feet, grabbing onto your heels. So inside, yep, perfect, that's it. And we'll have to bend the knees a lot here, not lowering the butt lower than the chest. Good. And 2 breaths. Maybe finding a little bit of movement, swaying right to left. And then unwrap, lift the hips up, come into a wide-legged forward fold, and then here shift hips right and left. Bringing the swaying motion back into the joints. And then toe heel your feet to touch. Take a half lift, inhale. Plant the hands, step left foot back, follow it with the right foot, plank pose. Lower halfway, chaturanga. Inhale, hard up, upward facing dog. Hips back, downward facing dog. Take a cleansing breath in here, a cleansing breath out. And inhale, reach your left leg up to the sky. Exhale, step your left foot between your hands, coming into a lunge. And we'll walk down, So you're gonna keep your hands on the ground and walk down the right side of your mat. Perfect. We're gonna take ninja lunges right and left. So Skanasana, so sitting, shifting side to side. And getting into that inner and outer hip, opening up that tissue. And then even yourself out. So you have both sides done in about the same amount. We have the big toes in and the heels facing out. And then take a half lift here, like a wave in the spine, lift the chest. And exhale, forward fold, release down. And taking your hands to your hips, come all the way up to stand with a flat back. And take warrior 2 with the left foot forward. And just check that your ribs are over your pelvis. You're taking a breath in this warrior 2 pose. And then transition into your side angle. And feel the tailbone pointing back toward your heel. And we're finding that spinning of the rib cage open. As the hips draw back, the shoulder blades stack. And staying neutral into the neck or maybe looking up towards that right hand. And then we're gonna bend into the back knee. This is our accelerant to come up into half moon. And we learn to just control the flow and the balance. You know, we don't have to go into the pose 100% right away, but gradually build it in increments. Yeah, finding the stacking of the hips and then maybe reaching the arm up. And every time we come into the pose, it's going to be a little different. So do your best to just stay checked in here. And we had the leg into the air, another breath. And then bring big toes together, fold forward at the top of your mat. Half lift, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Take your feet out as wide as your mat. So now that your legs are out wide, we'll bend into the knees. Bring your right arm inside the right leg toward that right hip crease. Yes, and then bring your left arm around behind the back and see if you can clasp that right hand. And now we're going to straighten the legs. Good, as much as you can. And you're looking to the left, trying to open that, that left shoulder open. Good. And then unwrap. And let's take it over to the other side. And don't you just love when you find new ways to open up your body and new areas to breathe into? So this time we're looking to the right, trying to stack the shoulder blades. Keep the shoulders open. Yeah, in a new fun sort of way. And release both hands down to the ground. Let's toe heel the feet to touch. Breathe in, lift halfway. Breathe out, plant the hands, step, step, or hop back and move through your vinyasa. And take your right leg up towards the ceiling. Bend the knee, open up the hip. Stay here or take your flip dog. So pressing into the feet, scooping up the hips. A full expression here. No holding back, breathing deep. And then bring your right hand to plant. Let's swing ourselves around into three-legged dog. And then take your right knee towards your right wrist into pigeon pose. So working to about a 90-degree angle or a little less. Now squaring off the hip points. So like your hips are headlights, we want them facing forward. Then eventually lowering down either onto forearms, maybe lowering the forehead onto the fists or onto the floor. And just observe here, notice what comes up, whether it's thoughts, feelings, sensations. And not needing to react to what comes up right away, but to just observe it and let it go. And coming back up onto your hands. Curl the back toes under, lift the back knee, and come into downward facing dog. And take your left leg up to the sky. Bend the knee, open the hip, and flip your dog. Rooting not only into the feet, but into the hand as well. The shoulder blades pin into the back. Scoop that tailbone, lift the heart. And then we'll watch the left hand come down to plant, getting the hands planted, lifting the left leg, three-legged dog. And taking pigeon pose. And setting up intentionally Maybe the side is a little different. And just honoring the differences between the right and left. Right, our body is always working to get us into this place of homeostasis, of balance. And there's a quote I love from Dr. Joe Dispenza, and it's about how our thoughts are not a vacuum. That's what the quote is. Really, what it means is every single thought we have, there is a biochemical reaction in the body. So every time there's a negative thought, there's going to be this negative chemistry that's causing aging, like causing damage to the body. But that's where this practice comes in. Right? The more positive our thinking, or maybe the less thinking that we have, right? The more observing that we do, yeah, there's a better chemistry that's released. And so here, can you allow yourself to just relax into the pose, noticing what comes up, in the space of compassion. Compassion and love for yourself and all the hard work that you put in today and every single day. And making your way back up onto your hands and taking yourself back into down dog one last time. And lower the knees down into the ground. And let's swing the legs around and come into a seat. You'll actually take both legs out wide for straddle. Take one hand behind, one hand in front. Yeah, scoot yourself forward. And we'll take a bend into the knees and see if you can take your peace fingers to your big toes. So that perfect. Bend into the knees is going to help so we can get a little bit longer into the spine. And then from here, you can start to straighten the legs, maybe release those toes if you have to, or keep them. And just kind of go where your body allows. Nice. The hips are still going back, but the heart is lifting forward. And slowing the breath down, feeling that expansion, that release. And we'll come up into a seat, walking your hands up your legs. And take your feet to plant onto the mat and come all the way down onto your back. And take your knees into your chest, give yourself a squeeze. And let both knees go over to the right side of the room. Splay your arms open wide. Working the shoulder, the left shoulder towards the left wrist, lengthening that out. And the chin can tuck in towards the left shoulder. Just relaxing deeper and deeper into the pose. And take your knees back into your chest. And exhale it over to the other side. And remember, all of the attention is inward right now, keeping the focus in the here and now. And both knees come into the chest. Let's come into our final pose before our final pose for happy baby. And drawing the tailbone to the ground, Your head and neck relax. Any final movements here that you'd like to take in your practice? And then as you feel complete, releasing both feet onto the ground, both arms down by your side, and come into Shavasana. Begin to bring your awareness back into your breath, back into your body. And just noticing the contrasts in your body, how it felt when you first began in meditation compared to how you feel now. And bringing movement into the fingers and into the toes. And stretch the arms up overhead, creating a nice long body stretch. You can point the toes. And take the knees into the chest. Give yourself a big squeeze. A big thank you. And then roll off to one side, curled up into a little ball. And press up into a C, ending our practice just as we began in meditation. And sending the hands into the heart and sealing our practice with a single Om. Take a breath in. Bring the thumbs to the forehead. Namaste.